Hello folks, welcome back to the FPL crypto channel. If you asked me how I feel about game week 11, I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit empty inside. And I shouldn't, because I'll go into it more detail later, but I ended up above average by 12 points. But there is this feeling of dread and emptiness and what could have been. What could have been for a lot of us. I feel like I'm not the only one who is ruining some decisions, some benching headaches that we may have had in game week 11, and we may have, some of us came out the wrong side of it. Anyway, more on that later. Game week rank 1.8 million, 65 points scored, and it's a small red arrow for me from 220k to 228k, so not much movement backwards in the grand scheme of things. 622 total points. Let's see how it all happens. So Nick Pope is a worry for me. He's not getting any clean sheet points and not getting too many save points, and Burnley are conceding a lot of goals. In any case, he's remaining in my team for now. He got 2 points. I'm not even going to give Nicholas Otamendi any more attention. Not even going to summarize his game week performance. It was about 2 minutes long. Maybe I shouldn't be taking my frustration out in the Argentinian. It should be more directed at Pep Guardiola and why he thought it was necessary to play him for 2 minutes. Aleksandr Arnold, 7 points. Great. He's just a great asset to have. Nailed for the season. Got an assist from a corner for the Mane goal in the last minute. And even though Liverpool aren't keeping the clean sheets, Aleksandr Arnold, as we said last week, is creating more chances than any player in FPL right now. So, well worth a 7.1 million price tag. John Lundstram is an FPL legend. So, he will go down in folklore with the likes of Aaron Wan-Bissaka from last season, Michu, Swansea striker from years gone by. All those fantastic players that have just been gifts that keep on giving. And we're not even near Christmas yet, and he's given us these grandioso gifts. 21 FPL points, 2 goals from the out of position defender, and he is still only 4.8 million, folks. So if you don't have him, you can't go wrong, because he's playing in Sheffield United. Even though they have difficult fixtures, they are probably the best defense in the league right now. And he is a goal scoring threat. He's a box-to-box midfielder. He arrived at the right time twice in game week 11 and scored 21 FPL points for his owners. 2 goals, clean sheet, maximum bonus. It was amazing to see and witness. Martial and Vardy were my 2 transfers in, my 2 free transfers last week. Martial got 2 points, a little of a letdown. It's doubly as painful being a Man United supporter and a Martial owner when we don't score. So it's kind of reflected. It was the first game of the game week 2, so a bit of a somber start to proceedings. But John Lundstram made up for it. Sterling and De Bruyne, 2 points each. Now, I'll touch on the Otamendi sub at the end. I would have expected Sterling and De Bruyne to run riot, as Man City were expected to do against Southampton. Since they were holding on to a very slender lead going into the last few minutes, I can kind of understand Otamendi substitution to kind of shore up the defense for the last couple of seconds. I'm still not happy about it. But it happened. The reason why I'm not happy about it will become very apparent soon. Mason Mount put in a good performance. He hit the crossbar and looked quite dangerous and menacing, so I'm not too worried about his 1 point. The points will come. Maddison got his assist for the Soyuncu goal, 9 points. I think he got 2 bonus points. Did he get 2 bonus points? No, he got maximum bonus points. Wow, fantastic. I think Soyuncu might have shared it with him. Vardy then got a goal. So Vardy has this incredible, what is it? I think it's a 48% conversion rate. So from his shots on target in the Premier League, he has scored, I think, nearly half of them, which is just amazing. And he doesn't need that many chances to score, even though underlying stats kind of point towards Leicester not creating too much going forward. Vardy doesn't need too much. Abraham then was in hindsight, maybe a better captaincy option. Easy to say now. He's got a huge ownership now, 7.9 million. Fixtures look great for Chelsea. He's a set and forget player, I feel, for the season, unless he starts to rotate his players with Batshuayi, who seems to be kind of touching a little bit of form himself. So it remains to be seen. 12 points from him. Now, let's get down to the fun stuff. Josh King started it all off with a goal in the first game, and Diego Rico got a clean sheet. And I was thinking, okay, this may not go as planned, but I knew that Otamendi wasn't starting the 3 o'clock kickoff, and Montoya was in there as my automatic substitute to come in. He got an assist, a clean sheet, maximum bonus, which was his first return of the season in reality. And it looked like he was going to come right into my team, which would have doubled it would have put me up to 76 points. But lo and behold, Otamendi comes in for his little 1 minute played, which is just devastating. Anyway, okay, so well, that's it really. I mean, there's not much else to say other than it could have been a lot worse. I've seen some players benching Lundstram and not having him come off. I've seen some players benching the 14 points Soyuncu scored for Leicester. Obviously, Diego Rico, Montoya were popular bench choices this week also. And look, you just have to take the rough with the smooth. Sometimes it'll go your way, sometimes it will not. All in all, I'm not going to say satisfied. I'm content with my performance this week. Not a massive red arrow, and I didn't lose too many places in my little mini leagues as well. So I'm happy enough. Let me know how you guys, any horror bench stories out there. I want to hear about them in the comments. Pop a comment in and make me feel a little bit better about my 26 points on the bench. 25 points. Nah, nasty. Okay, we're going to go on to the watch list next. So if you're new to this channel, every week I add and remove players to my watch list based on their performance, their fixtures, their form, and other stuff like injuries, suspensions. I have roughly 40 players on there, and I use it to keep a list of eye test players when I'm watching highlights and watching live games at the weekend. So I have to go into the transfers page for this one, and if you just go into the player selection view, you can choose watch list, which pulls up all the players. Yeah, you know the rest. So first removal, there's 6 removals and 6 additions this week. The first removal is going to be Fabian Schär. I didn't even get a chance really to watch him in action since I added him in game week 9 because of the injuries, and it kind of springs to mind now that he is very injury prone. He has a knee injury. I know he missed out earlier this season with a similar injury, so I'm going to remove him from the watch list, and there's another Newcastle defender who I'm interested in, which I'll add at a later time. Another player who's going on to the watch list now, another player that I'm removing, I'm getting ahead of myself, is Alonso. Alonso has to come off because now he is a rotation risk once again. The return of Emerson Palmieri and the starting of Emerson Palmieri against Watford means that Alonso may not be in favour for the Premier League once again. So he's coming off until we get more of an idea of what's going on there. I'm not going to consider him for any sort of a transfer if I activate my wildcard soon. Next player that's coming off, there's actually a lot of big hitters coming off this week. A lot of not popular players, but very, very talented players. Nicholas Pepe is one of them. He's a very talented player, but he has just failed to perform, and now he's not even starting. So he didn't play against Wolves for whatever reason. I mean, maybe he had some sort of a niggling injury. I don't know. Even when he has been starting, he's had enough chances to just bang and score a lot of points, and he hasn't done it yet. So I'm going to take him off. Not going to get him in. He has dropped in price too since the start of the season. Another big hitter coming off, Timu Pukki. I've lost interest in Norwich as a whole. Look at that run from game week 5. Everyone was thinking in game week 5 he was a season keeper, and since then, all the points he's scored since game week 5, it's been 6 game weeks, and he hasn't even scored more points than the 12 points he scored against City. And he's 2, 4, 6, 8. He's 10 points in 6 game weeks, and he scored 12 points in game week 5 alone. He's coming off. Norwich need to sort themselves out. And maybe Watford's a good... We can't just keep saying it, though. If you own Pookie, I never owned him this season, and I'm kind of glad I never jumped on the bandwagon when everyone started getting him in, because I still wasn't certain about Norwich. In saying that, if you owned him from game week 2 or 3 onwards, you just would have kept saying to yourself, another week. I'll give him another week. This fixture looks better. I'll give him another week. Maybe he'll come back. Maybe he'll explode again, get some goals. But no, he's not. Chance creation's even gone down. He's not really getting the shots away anymore. And his conversion rate was very, very unsustainable at the start of the season anyway. I mean, he's still a good asset to have. I just can't see him being owned by as many. And Watford at home is a good fixture, don't get me wrong, but Norwich are starting off playing well. So he's coming off the watch list. For me, I'm not interested in getting him at the moment. These are not permanent removals, just to remind everyone. I update this every week, so I usually like to draw upon the watch list for a player that I'm going to transfer in, as opposed to getting someone in who I've never been watching or keeping an eye on beforehand. So usually when I make my transfers, it's because I have the player already on my watch list. There's no one game wonders going to come into my team. I'll take Vardy and Abraham off the watch list too, because I own them, so there's no point having them there. They're just kind of taking up room. Let's keep it nice and clean. So the next player to come off is Callum Hudson-Odoi, because now he really is not starting games. I mean, we thought if you bought him after game week 9, you're rubbing your hands together thinking, I've got a little gem here. But as FPL does to you, we just don't have all the information. And since then, he's played 25 minutes in FPL. Game week 10, game week 11, he's got 1 point. And I would say he would have blocked a lot of big scoring, low budget defenders coming off benches too. His 7-minute cameo. So he's coming off my watch list. I'm not interested in him. I already have Mason Mount and Tammy Abraham. That is probably enough for Chelsea at the moment, I feel. Tomori is close to coming off my watch list because of Chelsea's poor defensive record. But the next player who, unfortunately, I have to let him go, it's Andrei Yarmolenko. Even though I do really like the look of him. Game week 9 and game week 11 is evident. He came off at halftime in both games for 1 pointer, and I do not want a player in my team who's coming off at halftime. 2 times out of the last 3 game weeks is overkill for me. It's too much, so I'm going to remove him. That would be a painful thing to happen to a player you've got in. Halftime withdrawal. So there's a decent cleanup. I said 6 players were going to be removed. I think in total it was 8. Oh, look, Martial's on there. I already own him. He's coming off too. Make it 9. It's brutal. A lot of players come off this week. Now, let's get to the fun part. Let's get to the additions. First player going on, I'll just jump to the fixture. Raul Jimenez. Jimenez looks like he is going to hit form. Well, he is already in form, and his fixtures to boot look really, really good. Especially like the 3 home games in there. Villa at home, Sheffield United at home, although they're in form. I think it's a good fixture, and West Ham at home. So 11% ownership. I can see a lot of people jumping on Raul Jimenez. He was a great player to have last season, and he's still a great player to have this season. The only issue that you could maybe see at the start of the season was the effect of the Europa League maybe taking its toll, and the distraction of that. I still think he's worth a shot now at 7.2 million. Great price, and a reliable player. Doesn't get mega scores, doesn't get huge hauls, but he gets his goal or assist every game and a few bonus points on top. So really, and he's on penalties, which is always a bonus. So Jimenez is on the watch list. I'm going to jump down to the Villa game. I'm going to add Gilbert. I already have McGinn on the watch list. I'm going to add Gilbert. Frederic, he has a little knock there. Let's not worry about that. He won't be coming in this week anyway. But I do like him from his attacking potential. He's got 2 assists this season so far, and he is nailed in that position. So I'm going to add him to the watch list to keep an eye on him. 4.4 million. That will be a nice, maybe an Otamendi replacement. Not this week, as I said, but I think going budget at the back is the way to go this season. So he is definitely on the watch list. Next player, isn't it funny that there's 2 players going on to watch this? One's from Villa, who played Liverpool, and one's from Southampton, who played much better against Man City this week. Ward Prowse is going on the watch list. He's on penalties. Well, actually, he's not always on penalties. He shares them with Danny Ings, but he's on a lot of set pieces and corners. And he got his goal last week. It's 2 goals for the season now. He got 7 goals last season, so he can definitely do it. And he's starting every game, so I'm going to add him to the watch list because he's a decent price of 5.8 million. And if Southampton can turn things around, it's a big if, then he would interest me with those fixtures ahead. So I'm going to keep an eye on him. James Ward-Prowse is on the watch list. Next player going on is a Sheffield United striker. Never thought I'd be saying that. They started scoring goals. Lys Mousset got 3 assists. So that, look at the returns for the last 3 game weeks. You can't ignore players that are producing this, even if his minutes are limited. I think it was a fitness issue though. He's only getting back into it now. So I'm going to just keep an eye on him. No interest really to jump on him very, very quickly, but with three assists and 2 goals in the last 3 game weeks, definitely merits an addition to the watch list this week. There's Lundstram again. I love that guy. What a man. Next is going on is Jethro Williams. Yeah, Jethro Williams. So he got an assist and he picked up max bonus for Newcastle, who even though we conceded 2 goals, so he's looking good. Goal, 2 assists so far this season, and look, he's picked up maximum bonus points in 2 games so far also. United at home and then West Ham away, and he seems to be starting out, so he's on the watch list. With Fabian Schär going off, I'm going to add Williams in his place because he seems to be just a better, more reliable asset at the moment. Next player going on the watch list, it's kind of a reversal of roles from Alonso to Emerson, so I might have to just search for him instead of getting him through the fixture. So I'm going to put Emerson on. He's returned from injury and he started his first game. 5.5 million, a little bit pricey when you've got the likes of a Tomori around at 4.8, but I do like him. He's all over the place when he's going forward. He's drifting in central positions, plays really advanced wing back positions, same type of role as Alonso, except I feel like he just gets forward more. I'd like to see him just being more clinical with his shots. He gets a lot of shots on target, but he hasn't had any attacking returns this season so far. I'm going to add him to the watch list, and maybe an Otamendi replacement for me. We'll see. So that concludes all the additions and removals for this week. Let's look next at my team setup for the games ahead. So for game week 12, it's a Friday deadline. Let me point that out. Don't get caught out. Get in, set your teams up for the game week ahead just in case you forget, and set your captaincy and vice captaincy nice and early. Obviously subject to change based on press conferences, new information that comes through, Champions League fixtures this week, Europa League as well, so make sure to stay clued in and keep an eye and an ear out for any injury concerns, and especially for those City players, see who starts in midweek. Also for Chelsea too, because I'd like to see Batshuayi start for the Champions League this week as opposed to Tammy Abraham. It would make me feel more comfortable about putting the armband on him. At the moment I have him as vice captain, and I'm going to captain Vardy at home to Arsenal. Vardy is probably the informed striker in the Premier League right now. 5 goals and an assist in his last 3 games, and that's 10 goals for the season, so much improved Vardy based in comparison to last season. And the home fixtures definitely do suit him. I'm going to leave it on him for the moment. Obviously, we know Leicester don't have any Champions League European involvement, so doubtful that Vardy is going to get rested anytime soon based on current form. So he is my captain, and Abraham's going to be my vice, but I might switch that. I do have a Josh King on my bench, and as painful as it might be again for me, I just don't have room for him. I prefer to have a mount in there at home to Crystal Palace. You can't bench De Bruyne or Sterling in this day and age. They're just they'd punish you much more than Josh King will every week if you benched him. Martial at home to Brighton. He's my new signing, and I do feel like Brighton at home is an opportunity for him to score and get up and running for my FPL team. John Lundstram is an FPL legend, so let's not even consider the possibility of benching him. He's just going to remain there. Trent, also probably the best premium defender at the moment. He's staying. And then Rico. I'm going to play Rico because he is nailed and Newcastle away. While they had a good win last week, Newcastle do struggle to score in general. And let's be honest, Brighton have had 3 clean sheets in a row. So, a little bit of an anomaly, to be honest. they weren't really. They had no clean sheets up to game week 8, and all of a sudden they turn into like the best defensive team in the league. Don't really understand it, to be honest. But anyway, I'm going to keep him in my team, and hopefully they get 4 on the trot, and I get some clean sheet and maybe some attacking returns. Diego Rico, the wand. They call his left foot the wand because he's just got amazing distribution ability with that left peg of his. Hopefully he's able to distribute the ball into the net and get some actual FPL points as opposed to just swinging balls in that don't go anywhere. So that's the aim of the game. West Ham at home for Pope. It may be one of those game weeks where it's sensible to roll a transfer. We do have the international break coming up. So Friday 8th November is the deadline, and then the next game week 13 is Saturday the 23rd of November. So you'll have a 2-week period to think about transfers if you roll a transfer this week. It's a favoured tactic of mine, not one that I always follow through on because it is supposed to be a fun game at the end of the day and it's fun to make transfers. Let's not kid ourselves. But I prefer to have a little bit of time to mull over my next move. So Otamendi is going to sit buried deep on my bench. No chance of him coming off there, and reckon any Montoya. Well, Montoya's on the bench too, because I think at United at home at Old Trafford, they might find it hard to keep a clean sheet. So that's my look for the game week ahead. Let me know if you have any decisions, dilemmas, transfer ideas that you just want to run by me. As always, I'm not an FPL expert, but I do keep a good finger on the pulse when it comes to FPL stuff, and I might know a little bit more than the average person. So definitely hit me up in the comments and I'll give you my honest feedback and opinion. Definitely not always right, but I'll give you my opinion all the same. So predictions. So every week you'll see down here in the corner, Gameweek 12 in the corner, Gameweek 12 predict the scores, win 65,000. This is the Super Brew. I can't speak tonight. I'm sorry, guys. Superbrew.com pool. So you choose the scores for the 10 fixtures ahead. It was game week 11 last week, and the winning score was 16 points, which involved 8 correct results for Sean 987. Congrats to Sean. That's really good going. Paxo also had 8 correct results. Really good, because there was some strange fixtures this week. Strange outcomes, I suppose. Maybe not. Maybe not as strange as the way the season's going. But I definitely thought Sheffield United winning 3-0 was a strange one against Burnley. I expected that one to be a dull encounter with low scoring. Dull encounter. 1-2 Mane gets a mention too. 15 points, 7 correct results. I'm way down the list here. I'm on 5. I got 5, which was 8. Not bad. Mid-table. It was a mid-table week for me. If you want to join this pool, there's a link down in the description. Click it. It's an auto join link, and you'll just put a few details to create an account in Superboost. It's free. And if you get 10 exact results, now it's very, very difficult to do. It's been done before, but if you do, you get $65,000 US. So it's free to play, and you can win big if you get it right in a certain game week. And these scores reset every week too. So it's a game week by game week little contest that we're running this year, and it's a bit of fun. We only started it last week. I'm going to go in and choose my picks for this week. Here we go. So Norwich against Watford. It's going to be tough, but I think Watford and Norwich are similarly terrible. So let me put it down for like a 1-1 scrappy non-event. Chelsea against Crystal Palace. Chelsea are scoring freely still, and they like the bridge. 4-1 for me. Palace, 2 defeats in a row now. Burnley against West Ham. Since I have Mr. Pope in goals, I'm going to favour Burnley at home. Both teams have been struggling of late. Also 1-0 to Burnley. Newcastle against Bournemouth. Let's say 2-1 to Newcastle. I'm That won't be good for me. But anyway, Southampton against Everton. I'm going to give it a 2-2. Spurs against Sheffield United. I'm going to give it a 0-0. Leicester against Arsenal. See how I'm flying through these picks this week, as random as I can get. I'm going to go 3-2 to Leicester. Wolves against Villa. 1-0 Wolves. United against Brighton. 4-2. That's very unlikely, but who cares? Liverpool against Man City. Now, this is an interesting one. This game is going to be major hyped up. It's huge. The gap is 6 points at the moment between first and second. Both teams had a late comebacks to win their Game Week 11 games. This will be a big game. A lot of pressure on Pep's Man City. Not so much in Liverpool. They would probably walk away delighted if this game ended up a draw for them. But I think Man City might go gung ho. I'm gonna go with this being an absolute Premier League classic. I'm gonna go 4-3 to Man City. Maybe a little VAR incident to give them some redemption, since Man City seem to continuously be screwed over by VAR in Champions League and the Premier League. So there we go. I am predicting, as you can see, a very high scoring game week, high goal scoring game week. Don't know if it's going to be right. 5 results correct last week, and 6 the week before. So get on it, guys. It'll be a bit of fun to look back and see how wrong we were again for game week 12. So that's it. I'll leave you with my setup. This is not final by any means, but this is how I line up for game week 12. Deadline on Friday. I will post up in the community page on YouTube my final team, final bench, final captain and vice captain. So you can keep an eye out for that coming in on Friday morning. Take care, good luck, and I hope you all get green arrows once again in game week 12.